You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Let's discover hardcover month, brothers and sisters, listen up so you can know what's up in the hood.
I was born in Michigan, just across the lake in Lansing. Never raised there. I went to every state in the United States.
I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. I moved here when I was 15, back in the 80s. I finished high school here in 86.
And I'm Tom. I'm the mayor of the bridge.
In the summer of 2017, our After School Matters group took a trip to the Lawrence Avenue underpass at Lakeshore Drive in Chicago Uptown. This has been the residential spot for several homeless people who call it the Uptown Tent City. Chicago has been trying to evict them from their spot, and we spoke to them about their struggles before losing this fight. We asked their daily routines.
A daily routine, when we wake up, we make sure that the trash is gone. If there was food donated from the night before, we normally throw it away so we keep the rat population down. And sometimes some of us go to the food soup kitchens to eat. Some of us go to the library to spend the day. Some of us take walks, go fishing, and some of us go to clothing pantries, food pantries, get out. Most of us I like to get out and about. I don't like to stay underneath the bridge all day. There's too much in Chicago. It's too much of a nice summer to stay underneath the bridge.
People come from Oklahoma and they say, is anybody harassing you? And we tell them, yeah, every night there's people that come down here and someone tells them, go down there. That's a good place. You can get something, just pick it up, and if you need a shirt or you need food or if you need something, go there. And they'll ask us if we have vacancies. They'll ask me if I have a vacancy. Could they sleep in my tent? And I said, no. I said, your family's waiting on you. You need to go back across Clarendon. Do whatever you can to get home because this is no place for you. You're not homeless. Oh, yeah, he says. I'm homeless, all right. I said, no, you're not. How do you know I'm not? And I said, well, your hair's too neat, your hands too clean, and you brush your teeth, and you're drunk.
I take care of tents, food, donations, supplies, and we enforce all our rules that we have down here.
We're usually up all night.
Would you care to share why you were up all night?
Well, we eat a little bit and we talk a lot. But there's a lot of problems with tents and a lot of noise with cars. Every few seconds there's cars passing and the engines don't let you sleep.
My mom died and I suffered from a PTSD. And so I had a total breakdown. So I couldn't quite function. I couldn't hold a job. I was too upset. I also am bipolar and have anxiety attacks, so that had a large part in it. So before I came out actually into the park, I stayed at some of the shelters. So I experienced that, which wasn't quite pleasant. And then eventually I made my way here because it was unpleasant.
What are some of the things you have seen?
I've seen people get shot, stabbed, robbed. I've seen people get assaulted by gangbangers coming through here. But I've also seen a lot of good things, a lot of good people that bring their families out here to give us clothing. I'm one of the original people out here, one of the first. So when we had nothing, people would come and give us blankets in the winter, food. That's how the whole donation thing started with the original crew of 7. That's how donations started coming back. We started educating people, then we got tents, and then we had organizations spring up from that, and that's what we have today.
Some of the ladies that have condos here, they come by and talk to me, and everybody asks me, they said, why are you still here? And I'd say the reason I'm still here is because everyone thinks that I'm their mom or their grandma, and they need a shoulder. And apparently those that are the worst off need more of the family relationship. And that's what I try. I try to hold a line on a familyness more than anything else.
People in the community helped out by organizing protests and giving a say to people in trouble, but the city doesn't seem to know what to do with the homeless. Their tent camps are all over the city. Somehow we all need to come up with an answer.
What do you hope for in the next year?
Well, I want permanent housing, but I think the way everybody's going about permanent housing is more like a lotto or a lottery. And I've heard a couple of people say that they're choosing in a different way now. So they're throwing everything out the window and going for a new deal. And we can't have new deals. The way people treat each other like family is not like a case, like you're case number 3. I was case number 6 on a voucher, and I haven't seen a voucher yet. And I want to see the voucher, and I want to see everybody treat everybody human instead of like worse than their dog. That's about it.
Since their city was shut down, the city of Chicago has helped Sandy find an apartment, though Rex and Tom's whereabouts are still unknown to us.
When you're depressed, where do you want to go? Nowhere.
Depression is a serious medical condition that can take so much out of you.
You try to put on a brave face, but inside the symptoms linger.
There's a lot of information about depression out there, and not all of it may be accurate. Let's find out more from the people who can share a first-hand account of what it's like to have depression.
Common misconception about depression is that we're never happy, when in reality it's like you can be happy with depression.
Whenever I try to tell someone about my depression, they always go, but your life is so good, there's nothing wrong. And I always have to explain to them that it's a chemical imbalance.
People think it's just an emotion, like you're just being dramatic, but in reality that's not the case.
One misconception about people with depression that they want to kill themselves, which is entirely untrue and mostly false. Not every depressed person wants to kill themselves.
I had both medical treatment, as in pills, and informal treatment, as in I talked to friends. A lot of the time friends with depression as well, because they understood how I felt.
The way I dealt with depression was I basically looked out to my friends and they helped me.
I've seen other people deal with depression by getting treatment. I personally have been through treatment since I was about 14. I know another way that some people get treatment is just finding a hobby.
I've seen other people deal with depression almost the same way, but sadly some people deal with depression in more hurtful ways. Some people hurt themselves to deal with it.
I've seen other people deal with it in negative ways, such as self-harm. However, due to my friends helping me, I've become more empathetic and I've tried helping them the same way they helped me.
How I've seen others deal with depression, they went to go seek help. They went to mostly get help from their friends, which that's on their basis, but I don't recommend people to get help from their friends. I think they should go straight to the medical source.
The method of treatment that I find most effective, and really the only one that I can say, is therapy. As I said before, I've been in therapy for, we won't do math, since I was 13, and that has been the most effective form of treatment for me.
The most effective way of dealing with depression to me is just to talk it out with someone. Some people just need someone to listen to. It helps a lot.
But in my opinion, the best way to deal with depression is getting medical help. Pills didn't help me, but they might help you.
Hello, I'm Alejandro.
And I'm Lolito.
And today we will be discussing the heated debate over whether gentrification within Humboldt Park and Logan Square has improved or destroyed the neighborhood.
But you may be asking, what is gentrification? Gentrification is a general term for the arrival of wealthier people in an existing urban district, a related increase in rents and property values, and changes in the district's character and culture. The term is often used negatively, suggesting the displacement of poor communities by rich outsiders.
Gentrification, it has its pros and cons. The gentrification of a neighborhood can raise values of property, increase the outward appeal, reduce crime rates, and attract middle-class and affluent people outside of the city into the mentioned neighborhoods.
Some downsides include the stripping of prior culture for residents who have made a home out of the community. Long-time residents having to move into new areas due to the rise of rent, and higher pricing for establishments that have been long-time residents of the community.
I'm Bianca Dodson, and I live in the Humboldt Park area. My opinion in the Humboldt Park area is that it's crazy how it changed over the years. Now, there are so many new places, like condos and things are being built around our neighborhood and changing our neighborhood. And it's affected me because it's raising our rent up, and it's hard to see people that I know move out of the neighborhood because of how high their rent is. So I think that this should stop.
I think gentrification is good in doses. The 606 is kind of that point where any more is going to kind of ruin the culture the neighborhood has, if there is any left. But, that's the city's agenda.
Some believe that it has vastly improved the community and making it safer and appealing to every Chicagoan.
Luckily, the Bloomingdale Arts Building in which I live, it was a city-funded project, and we have a grant to live there. And property tax is set at the rate in which we bought the place at. So, because we can still only sell it at the price we got it at. So I don't have that issue, but I know a lot of people in the neighborhood do. And I know this year the property tax was raised significantly, and a lot of people had to move out this year.
Another community that has suffered the same effects of gentrification is Humboldt Park's neighboring residency of Logan Square. Recently, the Logan Square State Savings Bank on Logan and Milwaukee has been put up for sale. The sales price is between somewhere of $2 to $3 million. This historic building is one sale away from being redeveloped and potentially being turned into condos, furthering the gentrification of the Logan Square area. Next to the California Blue Line train stop, a 12-story building is planned to be built. And even though the building will include some low-cost housing, the majority of the building will consist of one-room studio apartments with $1,500 rent, nearly double the average rent prices in Logan Square as of 2013.
Honestly, I would do what Humboldt Park has done. What Humboldt Park has done is not even that effective, but what Humboldt Park has done, they have a committee that regulates all of these things. They have people who speak on behalf of the people, and people who've lived there for generations, and I think that's honestly what any neighborhood in Chicago should do, because the only effective one I've ever seen to any degree is Humboldt Park's.
But the bottom line is that in Logan Square, rents are rising, the ethnic mix is changing due to the shrinking of affordable housing, and it is a rapidly gentrifying neighborhood. Now back to the studio. Overall, gentrification has its pros and cons. Some believe that it has vastly improved the community, making it safer and appealing to everyday Chicagoans.
On the other side, people believe that they have been kicked out of their homes and the community has been stripped of its prior culture in replace of what new residents consider to be a higher form of living.
Now it is up to the local residents to voice their opinions on gentrification in order to find common ground on the topic. This has been Hardcover News. Thank you for watching.
Diane Guerrero's parents were born in a small village in Colombia, as was Diane's older brother. In search of a better life, Diane's family moved to the United States and later had Diane in Passaic, New Jersey on July 21, 1986. Diane lived a calm life up until freshman year of high school. Diane called her family after school, but no one picked up the phone, which was odd to her. She ran the rest of the way home only to find that her family was nowhere to be found. Her worst fear had been realized. Her family was taken away to be sent back to Colombia. A passage from her book described the ordeal.
At 14, I'd been left on my own, literally. When the authorities made the choice to detain my parents, no one bothered to check that a young girl, a minor, a citizen of this country, would be left without a family, without a home, without a way to move forward. I'm fortunate that Amelia agreed to take me in temporarily, but no one in our government was aware that she'd done so. In the eyes of the ICE, it was as if I didn't exist. I'd been invisible to them.
With little access or communication to her family, Diane still went on to seek out her dreams. You can see her starring in the hit Netflix show Orange is the New Black, as well as a recurring character in Jane the Virgin. Not only is she an actress, but she is also an award-winning author. She has published 2 works, including In the Country We Love, My Family Divided, and My Family Divided, One Girl's Journey of Home, Loss, and Hope. At the age of 32, in the midst of an immigration crisis, she steps up and advocates for the children being separated from their parents and families at the border dividing southern United States and Latin America. She continually advocates for immigration reform as well as speaking out about the long-term effects of what separation from families may do to these children. Diane Guerrero is a strong female activist that allows herself to be vulnerable and shares her story so that she may never see it happen to another child ever again. We celebrate Diane for her activism, bravery, and pride for being a Latin American in this day and age. We celebrate her for speaking up for the hundreds of young immigrant children that still haven't been reunited with their families as of September 20th, 2018. She is the Latin American leader of our generation, and may she always be honored for her work, not only as an actress, but as a proud Colombian American who fights for immigration reform and better treatment of immigrants in this country.
if I were to meet myself back in time, it wouldn't be that hard to just think about what I'm gonna tell myself. I'm just gonna be like, there's certain times in life where like you're gonna go through stuff where it's obviously gonna be natural, and everybody's obviously gonna go through this once in their life, and to not really care. I think I would tell myself to not really care what people say, because sometimes people tell me one thing and then I take it too personal when I know they're just meaning it as a joke.
I would tell my younger self that there are a set of negative rights that you have when it comes to masculinity and expressing yourself.
Oh, you're supposed to be fit, you're supposed to have a girlfriend, you're supposed to have a job, have money, you're supposed to have all these things that other men have, like, you're supposed to have a phone, iPhone 7 or whatever.
And those set of negative rights are, you have the right not to be ridiculed for expressing yourself like any other human would. You have the right not to be forced to conform to a manufactured form of what it means to be a man. And third of all, and this is the most important one, you have the right not to have your individuality stripped away.
If I could go back in time with the knowledge that I have and tell my 10-year-old self how to be a man, I think it would kind of be rejecting that notion. And I think I would be telling my 10-year-old self a lot of the things that my earlier role models did at the time, which was just be yourself, and more people are going to enjoy who you are if you enjoy who you are yourself.
Well, men have a certain role to live up to. They are supposed to be portrayed as strong, not show any kind of emotion. If they even show at least one emotion, like sadness or you're starting to cry, then the media, along with everyone else in the world, will just portray you as weak, won't respect you as much. Wake up, because the world is full of people that has their own opinions about what a man is.
Once you ask someone to define it, you realize that it really can't be anything. I mean, I know how it has been described to me, but I know anyone could counter with anything that I say would be defined as a man. So I guess there really is no definition of a man.